Hey y'all, it's your girl Auda, and I am coming to y'all with another Auda Speaks. Thanks for tuning in. Today's episode is going to be building on the previous episode where we were talking about the change and talking about how change is uncomfortable and how it's going to hurt a little bit before it does start to feel good. So today's episode is, if your right eye is making you stumble, tear it out. Tear it out. And when I got the idea for this episode, it definitely did come from building on the previous episode, but also just walking with God and learning that when you are trying to become a new person and you're trying to be who God has called you to be, some things is going to have to die, okay, in the realest way. And when you do have to, when we talk about tearing things out, if it's your right eye, like that's heavy. That's something you use to see. So it's basically saying that if you got something that is on your body, in your body, whatever it is around you, people, whatever it is that's making you, and this is really the gist of the episode, period. Anything that's making you fall, trip up, not reach your goals, not get to where you need to be, not get to where God called you to be, you need to cut it off. You need to clip it up. You need to throw it away. Because these things that we have to do that feel hard or that feel like, dang, well, I'm comfortably uncomfortable. Like, I know this is not the best thing I could be doing. I know it's something that really at the end of the day could harm me. Then, but I'm stuck in that comfort. Then it's like you have to come to that decision to tear it out. And so for me personally, it's been an ever growing journey of that. Just throwing away the old self, putting away things that no longer serve me, putting away people that no longer serve me. And a lot of times people talk about acting brand new and switching up and all of these things. But sometimes people say that when they feel like they weren't included in the switch. And when they weren't included in the newness. So you're acting brand new, you're switching up when really you're just growing. You're growing into a different person. You don't want to be around the same things. You don't want to be around the same people doing the same things over and over, expecting different results. So we have to be okay with that. And we have to understand, if something is causing you detriment, then you have to put it away. For me personally, that has looked like no drinking. Because there was a time I used to drink, and it would be, drinking impairs your judgment. So it really can make you stumble in real life, but also it can make you stumble in life and cause you not to make the best decisions and be around the best people and just be doing whatever. So I have made the decision to not drink and to be sober about stuff. And I think that's really helped me, really, for real, in my life, because I feel like if I was continuing to move how I was moving, and that's not to say for people who have wine and have a drink here and there, by all means do that. But for people who struggle with self-control, or people who you have slipped into vices that have turned into, there was a quote that said, your coping mechanisms can literally turn into the things that kill you. So it's like something that was once a coping mechanism, or something that was once something that you felt like you needed to have to just feel a vibe or feel lit, whatever you thought it was doing, it could turn into a slippery slope real fast. And that's what was happening for me. And so I just decided, you know what, I'm going to let it go. I don't want to reintroduce that into my body. I don't want to continue to reintroduce that into my mind. And I do think that's why there's so many prevalent diseases and disorders, because, alcohol is legal, but you see so many cases of people dying because of DUIs and dying from alcoholism because of their liver and just all these different things. And it's just, it's so important to watch what you put in your body. And so for me, it's definitely looked like not drinking. And so, that's one of the things that I have had to tear out, in a sense. And I'm still tearing things out. I'm still cutting things off that's no longer aligned and whatever. But that's just an example, things that don't serve you, you got to put them away, because they will end you if you don't end them, period. So, yeah. And when we talk about tearing things out, cutting things off, A lot of people always talk about, hey, if someone you're around is not moving how they should be, or aligning with the plan that you're on or the path that you're on, cut them off. And to that I say, not necessarily everybody needs to be cut off, but you have to really take a deep assessment and look at things and look at the relationship and look at if it's, fruitful, if it's reciprocal, things like that. And you also have to take a look at your past. If you know a person is on a path of, they just want to live a life of, I just want to party, live life, as far as like just party, drink, smoke, hang outside, and you're a person that you're trying to work out, go to school, create businesses, create legacy, whatever it is, you got to look and see, is those paths aligning? Does that look like two different chessboards, or what is it given? What are we talking about? So it's assessment. It's assessment too. And it's honoring where you are and understanding that there is a gap between where you are and where you want to be. And if that gap has things that need to be cut off for you to make it closer and to close that gap, then that's what's going to have to be done. And it's going to hurt. Sometimes it's going to hurt because it's going to be things that, like I was mentioning earlier, that you used as a coping mechanism, things that you used for comfort, things that you felt like was keeping you warm, things that you felt like you went to when it was stressful, when it was hard, when life was hard, when people were hard, when true circumstances was hard. But you have to remember that, they always say that if you want different, you have to do different. And I want to read y'all this from the Purpose Driven Life book, where it says that growth is often painful and scary. There is no growth without change. There is no change without fear or loss. And there is no loss without pain. Every change involves a loss of some kind. You must let go of the old ways in order to experience the new. We fear these losses, even if our old ways were self-defeating, because like a worn out pair of shoes, they were at least comfortable and familiar. People often build their identity around their defects. We say, it's just like me to be blah, blah, blah. It's just the way I am. The unconscious worry is that if I let go of my habit, my hurt, or my hang up, who will I be? This fear can definitely slow down your growth. Y'all, when I tell y'all this book is eating, it is eating. But yes, that's really what it boils down to. It's just not caring about what you're going to lose when you tear whatever it is out. If it's your right eye, if it's something as vital as your right eye that you feel like you need, right? Because sometimes we start to take these things that we have been using to cope and to deal with life, and what we have made as scapegoats because of our pain. And I'm going to do a separate episode on this. But what we have used to be scapegoats for our pain is the very things that we need to let go of. And it often feels like we're taking out a limb. It often feels like we're taking out our eyes. We're taking out our arms. We're taking out things that feel vital. But when we do that, then we'll see, like I was talking about in the first episode, is that when you do that, you'll see that it really wasn't about nothing anyway. Like the stoop kid, like if the fear that you're feeling like once you die, and when I say die, I mean in a figurative sense. And I hope they don't flag my daggone podcast for me saying DIE. But once you kill off the old, you'll be happy once you see how much it was holding you back. And you'll be happy that you get to walk in the new when you realize how much it was holding you back. So no matter how hard it is, y'all, let it go. It's going to be hard, but no matter how hard it is, no matter how long you had this particular trait, this particular jacket that you feel like you didn't had on, this particular coping mechanism, understand that once you remove yourself from that, and sometimes we fear, like it said, we fear like, who we going to be? Who am I going to be? For example, me, like, who am I going to be if I don't write, if I don't rap, if I don't X, Y, and Z? Y'all would not believe. Like, it's so much, that you could get caught into assuming is a part of your identity, but it's not. Let it go. For real. So, yeah, Word to Frozen, let it go. Um, yeah, y'all, that's gonna be today's episode. Tear it out. If it's holding you back, cut it off, and I will see y'all in the next one.